The Indian Navy, it has completed the first round of inspections of the merchant ship MV Chem Pluto that docked in Mumbai earlier on Monday. As per reports, debris on board points at a drone attack. The Indian Navy's explosive ordnance disposal specialists boarded the merchant vessel and carried out their preliminary assessment. A joint investigation team comprising multiple agencies will now take over to determine the type and the amount of explosives used for the attack. An Indian Navy statement says that it has now deployed guided missile destroyers in INS Murmugao, and INS Kochi and INS Kolkata in the Arabian Sea to maintain a deterrent presence in the aftermath of the MV Chem Pluto attack. The increasing tensions in the region and heightened risk to shipping lanes have come to the forefront following the October 7th Hamas attack on Israel. The Iran-aligned Houthis, who control much of Yemen, including the capital Sana'a, have disrupted world trade for over 4 weeks now. They have attacked ships passing through the Bab al-Mandeb Strait at the southern end of the Red Sea in what they say is response to Israel's operations in Gaza. And Indian External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar is on a 5-day visit to Russia. The time-tested India-Russia partnership, it has remained resilient and continues to be characterized by the spirit of special and privileged strategic partnership. During his visit, Dr. S. Jaishankar will meet Denis Monturov, Russia's Deputy Prime Minister and Ministry of Industry and Trade. The Indian External Affairs Minister will also meet his Russian counterpart, Sergei Lavrov. The two countries share strong people-to-people and cultural ties. And apart from Moscow, the Indian minister's program includes engagements in St. Petersburg as well. The India-Russia bilateral relationship, it remains strong and stable for over 75 years. The Indian embassy in Moscow was the first mission abroad by independent India. It's a broad-based partnership with steady support from the political leadership. The India-Russia partnership has been among the steadiest in the contemporary era. Committed to a multipolar world, New Delhi and Moscow are working to expand engagement beyond the traditional military, nuclear and space cooperation. Both countries are also looking to strengthen inter-regional cooperation, especially with the Russian Far East. Key connectivity initiatives include the International North-South Transport Corridor and the Chennai-Vladivostok Eastern Maritime Corridor. There's a synergy between Russia's pivot to the east and India's own flagship initiatives such as Atmanirbhar Bharat and Make in India. Now, after being reported missing for 2 weeks, Alexei Navalny has finally been located. According to a spokesperson, the jailed Russian opposition leader has been tracked down to a penal colony north of the Arctic Circle. Navalny is currently imprisoned at the IK-3 penal colony, almost 2,000 kilometers northeast of Moscow. According to a spokesperson, Kira Yarmish, Navalny's lawyer was permitted to meet him on Monday. This after nearly 618 requests to Russian authorities from his allies, inquiring information on his whereabouts. Navalny's supporters have alleged that he is being isolated ahead of the Russian presidential elections next March.
Well, we find Alexei after 3 weeks of search in polar region in the north of Russia, in a settlement called Harp, in penal colony number 3. It is a penal colony of special regime.
Earlier, Navalny was being held at a low-security prison 235 kilometers east of Moscow. Yarmish claims Navalny's status as a prisoner has been elevated from a street regime colony to a special regime colony. Now, this change means reduced phone calls, lesser in-person meetings and fewer deliveries to the prison for the Russian activist. The Polar Wolf colony is considered to be one of the toughest prisons in Russia, with most of its prisoners convicted of grave crimes. Moreover, the region is covered in permafrost year-round, with temperatures expected to drop to minus 28 degrees Celsius in the coming weeks.
It is in the north, so it is very cold there, and even today the light there is for 2 hours per day. So I mean the conditions, like the environment conditions there are much worse than they were before in Vladimir region that is close to Moscow. So from this point of view, they definitely try to isolate Alexei and to make it more difficult to access him there. And also they are just trying to make his life as unbearable as it possibly can be, because this prison will be much worse than the one that was before.
Navalny's team alleges that he is being targeted by the Russian state as the critic poses a threat to the political elite. Given the charges and his detention, Navalny is barred from running for elections. Russian authorities continue to view him and his supporters as extremists. They have been accused of having links to the CIA and seeking to destabilize Russia. Navalny denies all charges and has slammed the Russian judiciary as being deeply corrupt. Meanwhile, the US State Department, it's welcomed Navalny being found, condemning the Russian government's treatment and calling for his immediate release.